We interrupted like halfway through. Let's get to the good bit. Hey everyone.
I was just going to say that trailer never gets old.
Yeah, it's timeless. Just like hopefully everything else we do at LFG. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Just good evening, Jazz.
Thank you.
Dialing in, is that still a term from Canada?
Welcome
to our next ForgeChat. For those that know who I am, my name is Marty, also known as Alcatraz. I am the CEO and co-founder at Lightning Forge Games, building, amongst other things, Gladiator Mayhem, the first title in the LFG universe. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Yeah, great. Excited
Not bad. Cold.
Doing well.
It's cold here in Australia at the moment. Absolutely.
Although I saw, I know London at the moment is having a heat wave because it's 24 degrees or something.
London,
Europe,
London, UK.
Yeah, apparently that's a heat wave over there. It's 24 degrees.
Italy, I think Italy's having a heat wave as well.
The Europeans.
Italy actually warm. But I guess you want to go around the room, introduce everyone, and then we'll get stuck straight in. Got some cool stuff to talk about today.
Sure. Hey everyone, Hitbox here. Johnny, aka Hitbox. I'm one of the other founders at Lightning Forge Games and the creative director. Over to you, Brett.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm Brett. I do AI and design. So when the champions start fighting each other, that's something that I had a hand in. All right, over to you, Marty.
Cool. So obviously, it's been a while since we did the ForgeChat. The last one, I believe, was just before the team was heading off to London for Avalanche Summit. Definitely keen to chat a bit about that and some of the cool stuff that happened. There's at least one thing that happened on that trip that we can't quite talk about yet, but that will be, dropping in the next couple of days, which would be really cool. If you're watching that intro at the start of the ForgeChat, you would have seen something potentially being announced tomorrow, which would be really cool. So maybe we have to do another ForgeChat very, very soon, Jazz, so we're not dropping all the alpha. Although, if you are in cohort 0, which you can join over on our Discord just by liking, retweeting, and commenting on our tweets, that can earn you points towards cohort 0. You would be part of the super secret testing group over on Telegram. And you may have seen the other night when I was enjoying a very nice bottle of Shiraz. I may have dropped a little bit of alpha over in that channel. So definitely some very cool things cooking at the moment. I'm just scrolling up through the stuff I was talking about the other night and seeing how much that we can actually probably say today. Something, but
when you have so many chefs in the kitchen cooking, you're like, crap, what can I talk about or not?
Yeah, and it's the classic thing where with the big announcement that is coming out in the next few days is something that we originally were planning on announcing while we were in London. I hope everyone, we've been a bit vague about it, but I hope everyone, when we do finally announce everything this week, I think everyone will understand why we had to sort of, why it was worth everyone's while for us to sort of just hold on that announcement and wait until we had everything sorted out. The usual NDAs take time, contracts take time, all that sort of thing. But definitely they were cooking up something pretty cool over here.
Agreed.
But both myself, Brett, Jazz, we were all over at AVAX Summits. God, what was that, almost 2 months ago now? Feels like a lifetime ago. How was AVAX Summit for you guys? I had an absolute ball. But keen to hear how you guys thought of it.
Brett, you want to go first?
Can I start?
Yeah,
I wasn't there, by the way. I wasn't there, by the way. But I want to start on this point. I loved the Hawaiian shirts, but as I understand, it was not the right parallel for that climate at that time.
No, it's one of those annoying things where I'll have what I think is a funny idea, and the problem being the CEO is no one says no. Because I thought it'd be fun.
It was a funny idea.
Yeah, because London is cold even in summer, and it would be funny to rock up in Hawaiian shirts. I think we did that for like a day, then we just went back to like the usual like LFG hoodies. Because it was very, very cold. But yeah, obviously we do some exclusive merch every time we travel to events. We did that for GDC this year. We did that for obviously Avalanche Summits. We will be doing it for Gamescom coming up in August over in Cologne, Germany. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correct, but I'm assuming someone will correct me in chat if I'm wrong. The swag we have for Germany is cool. It is not a black hoodie for once, which is always, when you work in games, you end up with just a wardrobe full of black hoodies. But yeah, the shirts were cool. Obviously, oh yeah, Brett, how did you find it?
Good selection of swag on their part. So really appreciate the AVAX scarf. That came in very handy, as did the umbrella. It was good to see GM there. There was one of the areas at the back. This is like at Hatfield, inside one of the buildings where GM was available for people to play, and they let loose. And it was good to see some people come back and just names on the scoreboard there. Yeah, also just all the other things going on around the AVAX chain too. So yeah, it's just very lively. I'm just trying to keep pace with everything.
Can we just just give a shout out to the team at Avalanche in terms of picking venues for Avalanche Summits?
Phenomenal.
So Hatfield House is where we were at. It was like 30 minutes north of London, give or take, by train. Sorry, on the tube. There you go. I'll throw a little bit of British swag in there. But yeah, it was the original home of the first Queen Elizabeth. I know the main hall where I was on stage giving some talks and stuff like that. I think someone was saying it was last renovated 1,000 years ago. Just a lot of history there, which is kind of crazy. Just gorgeous venue as well. Maybe the food could have been a bit better next time, would be the only I guess bit of feedback there. But it's just to especially coming from Australia, we have to travel a long way to go to these sort of events, but to have the opportunity to hang out at Hatfield House for 3 days was just amazing. And good vibes all around. As Brett mentioned, it was amazing to see all the other games that were on display. Big shout out to Bloodloop had a big thing there. That fighting game, I'm gonna Pixel One obviously were there as well. They gave a bunch of talks too. That was huge. We caught up. We hung out with the CEO of CCP Games, who make EVE Online and EVE Frontier. Which, if you're listening to this while we're live, EVE Frontier is actually doing a 10-day open gameplay test at the moment. So if you haven't bought the Founders Pass, but want to get in and give it a try and see what it's like, that is definitely worth doing. Very interesting that they were at AVAX Summit, but I don't think we can talk anything more about that at this stage. I'll be careful what I say now. But yeah, Jazz, I mean, I know you spent a bunch of time hanging out with a bunch of obviously big influencers and just KOLs in the AVAX community. What was your sort of highlights?
Yeah, I guess the first things first is all of us have been to a lot of Web3 events and events in our specific industry and field. And Avalanche has probably they've knocked it out of the park with the venue. I mean, I think we just have to really appreciate what they've pulled off here. People I was talking to on the floor there have told me that it's almost impossible to get that venue. So the fact that they were able to manage to pull that together is honestly amazing. So shout out to the whole team there. I mean, just truly phenomenal. Just a really good experience. And I guess I said this going on the way to Summit, but the thing which really stuck out to me is that majority of times when you go to Web3 events, it's more side event focused, right? It's not actually focused on the conference itself. And here, there was not a lot of side events, and I think that was actually great. I think people were there only for the AVAX conference, and they were only there for all the innovation happening in Avalanche. And the amount of people I met there who were passionate, who were actually sitting down and listening to the speakers, which again is something very rare for conferences. But the speaker floor was always filled up with plenty of people listening to the talks and the panels, and I think it was just a great mixture between education and people actually wanting to learn about the chain, and also networking and catching up with people and faces, etc. And then I guess that's like my aspect on Summit. But like we were lucky enough to have lot of connections while we're there. I mean, we made some really cool content with shout out to Sam with Dub as well, with some phenomenal creators from the AVAX ecosystem overall. And the feedback we got was tremendous about GM. The fact that people were playing the game as if their lives were on the line was pretty awesome. So
Well, even bigger than that, we had LFG merch on the line.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
Right,
Avery was gonna go for everyone's head at that point. Like he wanted that merch piece, and he got it. So fair play to Avery. I mean, you crushed with that. But yeah, I guess to kind of wind up my point here. Like I think this is how conferences are supposed to be done. There's supposed to be people are supposed to be there for the conference itself, not the side event. And I think Avalanche just knocked it out of the park. So yeah, great job, and I can't wait to go to the next summit because it was honestly one of the best Web3 events I've been to.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like obviously, we had our first live playtest of Gladiator Mayhem was at GDC this year, back in March, where we had a few events where we had the game available to be played. Although to be fair, we set up a build for GDC, which was like running off a MacBook up on a big screen with controllers and stuff like that. So that was really cool. AVAX Summit, we had the game actually running on a bunch of like just phones, tablets, stuff like that. So it was really great to see not only new people getting in and trying out the game. Like I know there's videos on I think it's on our Twitter, where like Sam and Dub and Avery and all that played it for the first time, gave their feedback, and we had a little like tournament with them, which was really cool. But having people who saw and played the game at GDC, getting to play it again, and seeing how far it had come in that in the few months in between, but then remembering the game and sort of enjoying it for that second time, I think was really great. And I know as developers, that sort of early feedback is critical to us, because that's where you really get to dive into the nitty gritty. You really get to polish the experience, and it's what separates good from great. We're never going to be satisfied just creating a good game. We've all worked on huge titles that from our history that we have demands the absolute best out of us. And I really do think that the feedback we're getting, and obviously big shout out to Cohort Zero, our early testers who actually have Gladiator Mayhem on their devices right now. They're climbing leaderboards, they're racking up points, they're battling, they're trying different duos, different combos and stuff like that. Again, that feedback we're getting there, and also let's be honest, the bugs that we're finding and fixing, again, really goes that long way to just really polishing the experience. Not going to sit here and just be like, oh yeah, everything's great. We're finding bugs, we're finding issues, we're finding things that you only ever will discover once the game is actually out there in the wild, on real people's phones, being used by people that haven't spent the last 362 days working on the game. And like I said,
the team are terrible testers. We're too close to the game. We've been making the game. We don't see the flaws anymore. One bit of really great feedback that came in recently was the melee just not feeling as tight as it could be, and then that launches into a whole like conversation around do we adjust the VFX? Do we change some values on like sort of the gameplay design side of things? So being able to go to these events like GDC, like AVAX Summit, like Gamescom in a couple of months, really helps us refine GM and make it like a fantastic product. Like it feels like it was almost yesterday that we were at GDC at the Australian showcase, getting folks playing the couch co-op mode, which doesn't exist anymore, but at that time it was great, right? And it was great just to have a whole bunch of people come up and play the game, get a feel for GM, and then us go in, refine the game, and like make those small steps to improving GM as a great game to play. Like first and foremost.
Yeah, it's actually a great point, because I feel like everyone who we've seen so far at these events, because we've seen a lot of people at GDC, so have we seen a lot of people at Summit, and I feel like we're going to see a few of those people again at Gamescom. When they see the progression of how the game has developed, I mean, I get mind blown myself as well, right? Like the build already from Summit to now is so much more better, like so much more refined and so much more improved. And I think once we get to Gamescom, people are really going to be blown out.
Oh, wait till we share the early gray boxes when everything was just like primitive shapes, right? Primitive shapes, buggy as hell. We were still working out like the rig system and physics, man. Physics, what a nightmare. Physics are great. They make the game fun, but yeah, not the easiest thing to sort of work into your game, especially when you have characters with like limbs and things go flying, and then quantum stuff. That's a whole bunch of fun as well.
Yeah, like that's we made the decision very early on, the very deliberate decision that we wanted to, for better or worse, do things the hard way. So having like a fully deterministic engine, doing deterministic multiplayer physics on mobile. If you're a game developer, you probably just cringed at what I just said, because that is like a whole combination of words that just should never go together in a sentence. And we're a relatively young team, but we're tackling things that bigger teams shy away from. And thankfully, because we are still in that sort of hungry startup stage of LFG, we can sort of take on these big, hairy, audacious goals, our BHAGs, if nothing else. It means that we're able to look at what other people in the space are doing across both Web 2 and Web 3. As an example, you look at a game like, say, League of Legends, arguably one of the biggest games in the world. It took years after launch for them to get replays in, and even then they were buggy, they didn't work. We have a beautiful replay system already in the game now, in pre-alpha early access, and again, like, when that has so many just follow-on benefits. When we've got people testing at the moment in like cohort 0, and they're like, oh, something weird happened in the game, like something shouldn't have happened, and we can just go, right, let's look at the replay, and we get to see exactly what happened in that match as it played out on their device. That alone has been an invaluable tool for us for development. But then you take that one step forward. If you have a really kick-ass match in GM, we'll make it so easy for you to share that either in video or in replay form. And if you share it as a replay for someone who doesn't have the game installed, we'll just take them to a web page and it will replay there, like automatically, with all the same sort of controls that you would expect. So fast forward, rewind, slow motion, all that there as well.
Top of mind, Marty. What are some other like top tier games that like leverage quantum, photon, all of that stuff?
Top of mind. I know actually.
Is it
Stumble Guys definitely did. They use that sort of like deterministic gameplay, because obviously, they've got that sort of, say, physics-based like system sort of built in. Wasn't the same sort of engine that we've built, but Blizzard actually built their own MOBA called Heroes of the Storm, and that was built on that same sort of like deterministic style like networking system, which is why early on, like, I played a lot of Heroes of Storm when it first came out. Shout out to Stitches. Being able to like throw a hook across the map and hook people was always really fun. But Australia didn't actually have servers at launch. We were playing on American servers, but because of the way the game was coded, it felt so much better as an Australian playing on 80, 100 ping like US servers compared to what you normally have in most multiplayer games. So yeah, definitely big shout out to our friends over at Exit Games for helping us build the engine that we've got that powers not only Gladiator Mayhem, but all the games we're creating in the LFG universe.
I guess to add on to that, Marty, for anyone who is new into the LFG ecosystem, or someone who's already been a long-time supporter, why is it so important for us to build a deterministic engine? Like, on a scaling aspect, why should people care about this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So to start with, by putting in the hard work now to build this sort of deterministic gameplay engine, it means that we have rock solid multiplayer designed out of the box for mobile. It means we can have like physics-based gameplay. So you'll notice in the early videos, or if you're one of the people having early access to the game, you'll notice we're really leaning into that. There's a lot of abilities that will knock you up in the air, send you flying across the map. We're looking at things like destructible terrain on certain levels, things that just really add a whole new level of engagement and gameplay that, again, a lot of other games just can't do for technical limitation reasons.
It's just better to watch too, rather than watching just two people hit each other till they fall down. It's to not only be fun to play, but fun to look at.
I've been obsessed with doing physics-based multiplayer for a very long time. Some of the earliest games Brett and myself worked on over a decade ago, I should say, was built around that concept of physics makes things more fun. We prototyped at one point a game called Armada, which was it was League of Legends with spaceships. So top-down spaceship battler. And because everything was physics driven, and we had a gravity system running in the game. So you could literally fire a missile and it would loop around a planet. It would get caught in the gravity.
You could slingshot bank shots.
Yeah, you could hit people on the other side, send them flying. It just added a whole.
If you're going to create a game for your first game, don't do multiplayer online with physics. Don't.
I mean,
how many engines did we bounce through before we found the right one?
We went through engines. We looked at building our own custom engine at one point for that. Then we just sort of realized that eventually that it was just out of scope for for a small two-person indie team to bite off. So we sort of shifted to things that were more achievable. But Armada will always have a special place in my heart. And then the other side to it, Jazz, is once you have this rock solid foundation, which is obviously the engine, but it's also the way that we've got say input system set up. It's our menu system. It's all the characters, all the animations, stuff like that. Once you've got that really solid core, it's kind of like being a great chef. Once you have your 5 foundational sources absolutely down pat, you can then build from that. So when we're talking about building multiple games in the LFG ecosystem, from Gladiator Mayhem, our 2v2 hero brawler, to YOLO, our 5 hero PvE dungeon crawler with YOLO permadeath dungeons, right through to obviously our flagship title, Grand Tactics Final Order, or GTFO, which would be the epic scale auto battler style experience, but with more units than any auto battler to date that I'm aware of has ever tried to do. Once you've got the foundation down pat, all of a sudden you're able to build, test, and iterate on all these other designs incredibly quickly. For example, in obviously Gladiator Mayhem, is a 2v2 hero brawler. We've tested what that would look like with a battle royale mode, where we put 50 duos out on the battlefield at the same time. Now, to be clear, this will not be something you see at launch. This is just something we've tested internally just to see, to find the fun. Is it fun in this sort of game mode? And spoiler, it is. But we had that prototype up and running in a day. Whereas normally, if you said to a team, hey, we want to prototype what a battle royale looks like, you're talking weeks or months of development just to get to the point where you can test to see if it's a good idea in the first place. Whereas for us, we're able to go, no, we could test this in a day, and then that allows us to plan so far further ahead, where we're, for Gladiator Mayhem, for example, we're obviously, building towards launch, but we already have the first 6 months post-launch planned out. We know what's happening, because you can't release, here you go, free consulting advice for everyone else trying to build games at the moment. If you are trying to build a game and you are aiming for launch, you are going to fail. Full stop, end of discussion. I don't care if you're a single person indie or if you're Activision. You need to be thinking about what brings people back day 1, day 7, day 30, day 90, day 360. Like, what do you have in your experience that makes people want to keep coming back? And we refer to that as live ops. There's events, there's tournaments. There's so many different ways you can do that, depending on the game, depending on the player taxonomies, depending on the sort of ecosystem you're building. But if you're not planning 6 months ahead, if you don't know, hey, a month after launch, hey, it's Valentine's Day, for example. So, we need to have, cosmetics and skins and an event themed around that. And hey, GDC is coming up. What can we do to sort of, to run some events there? Like, if you're not actively planning ahead for at least 6 months, and this is, if you're pre-launch, you should be aiming launch plus 6 months. You're not going to make it, because at the end of the day, yeah, cool, you might be able to generate like a spike of traffic. You might have 200,000 people download the game, day 1, but that's a vanity metric. That doesn't matter if they don't come back and play it the following day, the following day. And that's really what we're trying to do with the LFG ecosystem. Gladiator Mayhem was chosen to be the first game, primarily because it's what we refer to as a hybrid casual experience. It's, of the 3 games we're building, it is the easiest one for new players to get in, have a great time, and start to explore what we're building in the LFG ecosystem. Once we've got you hooked, once we've shown you, hey, this is the game, it's really fun, we've already got the plan of like, here are the different events we're running, here's some tournaments coming up, here's what we're doing with seasons and live ops and battle passes and all that good stuff. Then we introduce YOLO, which, as I said, is our PvE dungeon crawler, which, one, if you already have a GM account, that just rolls straight over, and you can just keep playing with all the same heroes, cosmetics, runes, everything that just comes straight across. But now we're able to introduce the LFG universe to a new segment of players who maybe don't enjoy that PvP style game in Gladiator Mayhem, but they love the idea of jumping in with a bunch of their friends and running through dungeons for loot and stuff like that. That sort of ARPG style game. So we're very deliberate in the order that we release our games. We're very selective in the ways that we build systems to encourage players to want to keep coming back day after day. And then as we add more games in the ecosystem, honestly, I want a world where players are just absolutely spoiled for choice, where you're sitting there on a Friday night with your friends, like on Discord or something, and you're trying to, you're arguing over, hey, we're going to go grind some GM, we're going to play some YOLO, we're going to play some GTFO tonight, because all of the experiences are so fun and engaging by themselves, but then you bring it all together in that ecosystem, and it all works. And all of that then that's completely separate to everything we're doing with LFG agents, which is the secret sauce, just completely on top of that as well.
Yeah, I guess people don't realize when we say that we work on AI, that it's not just ChatGPT LLM wrappers or it's something which every other AI startup is doing right now. No, it's actual reinforcement learning on these characters. These agents. So I guess Brett, if you want to maybe just dive into that as much as you
can. Sure. I'll touch on that. A lot of games are using like language models, and they're hooking out to an NPC who can give you a quest. That's cool. That's one use of it. It doesn't weaponize a hero though. If you use what we're cooking up for our LFG agents, what'll happen is you'll demo some behavior like, hey, I want my healer to sit behind me, heal, and just stay out of combat generally, unless like a fireball's going to kill me, in which case jump in front of me, save my life. And you can play as a hero, like as the healer, as long as you have one, and then demo that behavior. Then you hit your train button after picking which matches you want the replay to like base it off, and voila, suddenly you've got a healer that acts differently to everyone else's by default. So you could have a unique, crazy strategy. Like I like to use double enhancer. What's an enhancer? Well, if you're part of Cohort 0, you know about the Ranger, the Enhancer, and what we've done with the Barbarian Mage. So they've got some alpha right there about some other characters which maybe you should practice a bit with. for some kind of upcoming event, maybe, which I won't go into further detail about because it's just, it's really, really. No, I can't say anymore.
I mean, the Imperial Enhancer is more powerful than the Barbarian Enhancer, just saying.
I mean, you're wrong, but I'll let you be wrong.
Yeah,
we all have our favorites. There's a bit of rock, scissors, paper. It's great to see the community trying to work out what jives with what they're doing. But back on track with the ML training. So for the LFG agents, yeah, it's how good are you and what do you want them to train them to do. So there's a little bit of creativity in there where you might not be the best Twitch reactions kind of person, but if you've got a good strategy and you can teach that to your other hero, you could still just stomp out of other people just by having the right positioning, like double samurai, just leaping on the same hero at the same time and just keeping them air juggled as long as possible while you're chunking away their health. That's a little bit basic, but completely doable.
Wait, you mean we have gameplay which is driven by our cool physics system? No.
Well, it's fun to make just someone not touch the ground as you shred them.
It's almost like
that's where we're exploring areas of AI where everyone else is just sticking with language models, which have a place, but we're going for something a bit more action orientated.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other big announcement we can actually talk about, we've got, this is going to be a crazy couple of weeks because obviously, we've got a big announcement dropping very, very soon. We can announce that we've actually we're chatting with a lot of different teams at the moment about LFG agents. Because obviously, as we've said before on previous ForgeChats, this is just too, damn cool to keep to ourselves. LFG agents just really can completely change how games are built, designed, and how people engage with them. And yeah, we've officially announced the first game that will, outside of the LFG ecosystem, that will work with LFG agents is Drift Derby by Mixed Pixel Games. So definitely go check out the announcement over on Twitter. Give those guys a like and a follow. Obviously, another Australian-based team, which is always great to support Aussie builders. But first of many announcements there for other teams and other studios that will be working with LFG agents. And the one thing that we can announce with that is that every game, both in and outside of the LFG ecosystem that uses LFG agents, will support Forge keys in some way, shape, or form. What are Forge keys? Stay tuned. There may be an announcement very, very soon.
You have a pretty interesting video playing on your TV, Marty.
Oh, I just put the this is just like CNN, just random stuff in the background. Just a bit of background sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I just don't have access to that channel currently, but hopefully I can unlock it within this week.
Yeah,
potentially. Who knows? No, Mixed Pixel is great. You guys ever? I mean, obviously, you guys were fans of Midnight Club, right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I've always loved that sort of like I like racing games. I suck at like the real racing games. Like you go to like PAX or the old E3 or like any sort of convention. There's always like that booth that has like the full on hardcore racing sim set up with all like the haptic feedback and force feedback stuff going on. And you sit in there and it like feels really cool. But then like I start driving, I just go straight off the first corner and just like slam into a wall or something. So I've always sucked at those ones. But the arcade racing like style games, like Need for Speed Underground, like all those like just really cool like arcade style races are awesome. I've always wanted to find like a really good like racing game that was designed for mobile, especially. And having played Drift Derby, it's very, very easy to pick up and play, and just super fun.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to try it out as well. I used to play a lot of Asphalt 8 as well on my phone. So, I feel like racing games are made for mobile, in my opinion. They're great. And especially the ones who have the, the feedback control with, you actually tilt your screen.
Yeah. I mean, knowing the team, knowing their pedigree, they're doing some really cool stuff over there. And I'm very, very confident that game is going to be a huge success. And obviously, one of the reasons that we wanted to chat to them, and obviously we all agreed that LFG agents make a lot of sense in their ecosystem. So yeah, very honored they chose to work with us, and yeah, obviously it will be cool for potentially something with Forge keys down the road.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I mean, so what other announcements do we have? I feel like we have so many we can't talk about where I'm like, crap, but what can we?
We're gonna have to do the ForgeChat next week. That's the
Yes.
TLDR.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely stay tuned over the next few days. But yeah, obviously AVAX Summit went great. I mean, I guess we can announce we'll be going to Gamescom. I guess would be the
yeah. I guess we can announce Gamescom Germany. Any of you guys speak German?
Nein.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Nein, ich spreche Deutsch. Yes.
Yeah. That's
Zero,
literally all I
yeah.
know. On the plane going to like another country, I'll just ask like ChatGPT to tell me like, how do I ask for the toilet? How do I find a McDonald's? And then just
I mean, they'll appreciate
there,
you having a go, but I think a lot of them do have a handle on English.
Yeah.
But hey, have a try, have a go. Just stay away from some of the words which are very offensive that are like common words.
Yeah. Germany, very different to say France, where if you don't try to speak the local language, they'll just completely ignore you. But yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Actually, I've got a travel book I need to borrow off a friend. It's got some amazing phrases like, "Are you sure there's not some kind of fine I can pay for that, officer?" Like the lines are so sus.
Actually, it was being Australia, and Jazz, I'm curious if you experienced this as well when we were in England for like AVAX Summit. There were times where like I'd be having a conversation with like a Londoner, and I just couldn't understand what they were saying. Like the accent, the slang, the colloquialisms, just like I was trying to like follow along, and I'm like, you're just speaking a whole different flavor of English to what I'm used to.
But surprisingly, when we went to the Netherlands in Amsterdam, everyone's English was amazing there. Like it almost seemed like that they were, English was their native language. And like everything was on point. It seemed the English seemed more Western than I guess UK, but like it was great. And then you go to London, and then if you meet someone from Liverpool, it's game over. You can't understand a single word you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Amsterdam's a bit out of our way if we're going over to London for AVAX Summit. Like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why we went.
Wonder why we went all the way to Amsterdam. Like after a 24-hour flight to London, just jumping on a plane like straight away and going to Amsterdam. That was.
We make good choices. That's fine.
Maybe they have great cafes.
Wasn't there an event there in Amsterdam? I can't remember the name.
All I remember from Amsterdam is that the red light district was very disappointing, and they have incredible water towers.
Right.
Was a big takeaway for me.
Especially orange colored.
Yeah, orange colored water towers. Yeah, that was I think I had an espresso martini there too. But definitely. Overall, very fun trip for the team. A lot of really good networking, a lot of great feedback for the game as we ramp up into getting ready for launch. If you don't have access to the game yet, please make sure you're on our socials, jump in our Discord, jump in our Telegram. We will be opening it up more and more to more community members as we go. We're obviously doing it as a staggered rollout at this stage, just so that we can, honestly, it's to make sure when we get feedback coming in, we can address the feedback and fix any potential issues before we sort of open it up to the next group of potential playtesters. Just because there's no point having 100 people all tell us about a certain bug. We'd rather fix it, and then it means the next sort of wave of feedback that we're able to collect is just more valuable feedback for us, and focuses much more on the game and things like are classes balanced, are they fun, do people understand what the classes are trying to do, as we sort of build out more features within the game.
And it makes
there's some of them in there as well, which we encountered AVAX, but we already actually built the solution, but it wasn't presented in an obvious way. So in the settings, you can make it left-handed or right-handed, depending on how you want your controls. I think it's right by default for like the analog stick.
Can't remember, to be honest, but little UX things like that, which again, most teams wouldn't even be thinking of, but not only have we thought about it, we've actually built it, and it's there in the game experience as well.
and then one thing I was going to say is make sure you head over to our website, lightningforge.games. If you want access to GM earlier, there's like a big pre-register button on the website. If you pre-register for it, maybe one day you wake up like it's Christmas Day and you get access to GM. Who knows? Marty's like Santa. He'll surprise you one day with a nice GM. Yep.
And maybe even there'll be other reasons why you really want to get into play GM just as soon as possible. Definitely make sure you're able to jump in, win some games, go on a winning streak. Who knows?
Find your combo. Find the heroes that work for you.
Yeah, they're going to be, your combos are going to be important.
Yeah, the meta at the moment definitely is wide open. I don't think, looking at the leaderboards right now, I don't think you can sort of say there's a definitive like best or worst class, or duo or combo of classes, I should say, which is always a great sign. I've worked on games before where something would be unbalanced and out of the gate there's just like, oh, this is so obviously broken. Thankfully we haven't hit that here, but obviously we'll keep an eye on it. We'll nerf or buff where we need to moving forward. And
for me it's a ranger and the barbarian mage. I mean that's my combo there.
I still love the double samurai combo.
That was Sam's shout out Sam, but that was his favorite combo as well. Samurai.
When you sync up the special ability and just have two samurais just like leaping it into like
well, that chunks like half the health of anyone almost.
Exactly.
Like the chunky guardian with the shield.
Yeah, I'm not good enough to actually jump into melee combat and actually stay on top of someone and actually win. I just stand back and just like spam my abilities, and it works well.
Yeah, and I guess for anyone who has no clue what we're talking about, potentially very soon, within, I don't want to give a certain time frame because these things are tricky, but you're going to find out about all these factions in a more digestible and interactive manner. I'm excited for that to get out there.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a sneak peek on the website at the moment. You can jump on there and see. You can only see the first 4 factions. If you're in our secret testing group, I may have dropped a little bit of alpha on what the 5th faction will be. There'll be 12 factions total at this stage. And that's definitely a very important number to keep in mind if down the road you may happen to have a forge key or 2 or 5.
Oh yeah, and check out the different classes in the different factions. The Barbarian Mage is very much up in your face as opposed to the Imperial Mage who's kind of dancing around lobbing giant fireballs at you.
Yep.
So you get very different takes on the classes per faction. So yeah, we're trying to have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, if you're playing the game, you'll notice there's. I'm trying to talk vague, but I'm also just dropping alpha here for fun. I just said there's 12 factions planned. There's 5 classes per faction if you look at the current build. So that's 60 unique heroes with their own abilities, their own stat lines, and then what's the math on that when you actually work out how many potential duos there are? That's like 60 times 59. Am I doing the math right?
That sounds like a fun time for design.
3,540. We have ways. Again, it helps being an AI-powered studio because we can do some really cool things that other studios can't, such as if we're worried about factions being overpowered or underpowered, we can tell the AI to go play 100 matches of that duo versus every other potential combo, and actually look at let the data drive our decisions in that regard. But yeah, it's not easy. Thankfully, we have a very talented design team at the studio who has done this for a very long time. They've worked on past games that were live and doing live gameplay balances, updates, things like that. So yeah, definitely having that experience behind us definitely helps as a studio.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool. Is this going to be like our first ForgeChat in ages that's actually under an hour? Mostly because everything I want to talk about, we can't talk about yet. So we have to wait till next week to...
I mean, next week's ForgeChat, maybe we'll bring up some people as well from the community and have a Forge jam. Not a chat, but a jam. Well, we'll have Johnny out with a speaker. Marty
I was
Fial's.
just thinking, like, if we're gonna do a Forge Jam, then we need like a little MIDI board that we can fire off sounds. Like, I
Oh,
think that's
cool.
how do we make that happen? You know, you need
It's
the
just gonna
you
be all
need the
those really annoying like MLG
like the horns, like
Yeah, I think you can get like a Stream Deck and then
yeah.
on
So
that
like,
Stream Deck.
let's get the MIDI board. Let's get all the SFX hooked up and make sure I don't have access to any of that because I'm just gonna spam it during the whole Forge Jam.
Yes, it's gonna turn into an actual jam.
Yeah.
At some point, we've also got to have some matches going while we're doing this.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah. I mean, I know I used to put like just some videos on the screen behind me, but we can easily, once we've got more people playing the game, we could easily just have live matches playing, while we talk.
That'll be cool.
I just found like a cool soundboard, but I don't know how to actually get it into. So I think it's going to just play if I just go and play through my headset.
Actually, there might be a soundboard here. Let's see. You guys hear this?
Yeah, that's coming through.
Yeah.
It just turned into
Okay, so
EDM
this
pod.
has 100x'd this whole pod. All right, this is instantly.
Wait, one sec. There's this as well.
Yeah, that's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay, let me download that soundboard.
Cool. Anyway, yeah, definitely looking forward to the next ForgeChat, which I'm assuming will be probably next week.
Yep.
And yeah, like I said, please make sure you're following. Jump on our website. Make sure you are signed up for pre-registered for GM. Follow our socials because there'll be a lot of very interesting things dropping over the next few days.
And I think interesting is an understatement here. Very, very intriguing things for dropping. And yeah, follow us, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week at the ForgeChat.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. LFG.
LFG folks.
LFG all.